One of the greatest lessons we can learn from sports is how to respond to failure. In this video, I'm going to break down for coaches, parents, and even athletes five strategies to adopt to teach athletes how to respond to failure better. Listening to the Bridging Impact Podcast, transforming leaders on and off the court with host Coach Furtado. Without further ado, let's dive in. What's up, everyone? I am Coach Furtado, and this is Coach's Corner on the Bridging Impact Podcast, diving right into the number one strategy that you'll want to make sure that you stay to the end, because number 5 is one all coaches and parents should be doing. All right, so going into the first strategy, though, is creating an environment where failure is encouraged. And I'm not saying failure as in lack of effort. I'm talking about failure in wanting to try and expand your comfort zone. They talk about how important it is for leaders to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And so with that, a lot of times we as coaches, we expect our practices to be and look pretty and look perfect. And if I walk into a gym and I see a practice and it looks really good, that means they're not stretching. There's no mistakes being made, because in all reality, it doesn't matter what sport it is, the games are messy, right? I mean, even at the highest level, the reason we love watching the NBA is because those guys are so smooth, right? However, most of us, I'm guessing most people that are listening to this do not coach in the NBA. They're mostly high school basketball coaches, middle school basketball coaches. Could be another sport too. It's always going to be messy, and it doesn't even matter. You could be a teacher. You don't even have to have, you don't even have to be in sports. However, I think when athletes are encouraged to make mistakes, especially in practice, doing, again, not making, one-hand careless passes. They're, taking care of the basketball or whatever it may be, whatever sport you're in, right? Like, there's some mistakes that should be corrected and are kind of effort mistakes. Those are not the mistakes I'm talking about. I'm talking about failure in terms of missing a shot that they should be taking, right? Encouraging them to continue to stretch it. I love how hard you were working there and you lose that basketball. Creating an environment where kids feel like they don't have to be perfect, because in this social media world, they always feel like they have to be perfect. They feel like they have to score 20 points per game. They feel like they have to make 50% of their threes, right? And so we need to create an environment where that's okay, where we celebrate people making mistakes and failing because they're trying something new. We have to celebrate that. Number 2, right? It kind of, all of these build off of each other, talking about a growth mindset. And I know, by this point, we've all heard about, growth mindset, right? However, I don't see always people enacting that, right? And I think, one of the biggest issues and differences that I see sometimes between like an athlete and a coach, and an athlete will see where they are right now. However, for me as a coach, I always see potential. I always see where we can grow and get better at. And that's one of the biggest things that we have to shift and give to our athletes is like, hey, this is where you are now. However, if you continue to expand and grow, this is where you are growing. So it's part of it is like giving them a vision. However, and one of the most important things about a growth mindset is not to say, hey, you are a great natural shooter, right? And some people may be great natural shooters. However, we need to talk about their effort, right? Their effort is actually what we need to praise as a growth mindset. If we always tell them like, oh, you're so naturally good at this, they're always going to come to a point at the next level, right, where they face people who are just as good as them, unless they top 1% of the 1% of the 1%, the LeBron James, right, Victor Wembanyama, etc., right? I mean, there's a ton of other players. I'm sure we could go down that road. So we have to reward work ethic when it comes to growth mindset and talk about where they are going, not where they are right now, where their feet are. Number 3, this is a big one that I'm a big believer in, and again, I got this book up here, and I'm not sure if you can see it if you're watching, but it's called The Coaching Habit. Say less, ask more, and change the way you lead forever. And you have to ask more questions as a coach and even a parent, because if we're always just, telling them, we're not giving them, number one, we're not empowering them and giving them the full range and ability to be a human, to be a leader, because we're giving them all the answers. We have to get them to start reflecting on how they can become a better basketball player, a better team player, a better leader, however, whatever, kind of subject realm you're in. You have to give feedback questions. At the end of every BTG basketball session, what I love to do is, what did you do well today? What do you want to improve on? And sometimes I ask, what did you learn about yourself? And those questions can help them kind of get in this consistent habit and routine of, number one, recognizing what we do well, because we want to build like a productive, positive mindset, and recognizing that we do bring value to a team. And then recognizing, again, the growth side of it, that we always have room to improve. And that's going to continue. That's a skill that they can take through life, is that ability to reflect and critically think about how they can become a better basketball player, better at academics, better, son or daughter doing their chores. That's going to really be a key component to their success in life. And I think number 4 is support, right? Showing them support. They're going to have bad games. It does not matter. Number 1, they have to know that we love and care about them beyond their results and their performance. It's obviously, it's hard, right? Because as coaches, we are, going to play the players who have the best performances, right? So if we have someone, obviously, who we love deeply, right, and they're not performing well, hey, I can't play you. Like right now, like you have to have those honest conversations, and that's the challenging part. That's the not so fun part about coaching. But that doesn't mean it's exclusive. That doesn't mean like whether I give you play time or not, that doesn't mean I don't love you and I don't care about you. That's not what that means. And I think being very clear about that, because at the end of the day, one of the greatest parts about sports is being a part of a team. We are social animals as people. We want to feel like we belong, and that's one of the beautiful things about sports. And it's one of the things I think about, like, as fandom, right? The reason we're such crazy fans, is because we feel like we're a part of the team, right? We'll talk about, even though we never step foot on the court of the field, we'll talk about, a loss, right? Thinking about it like, as a Rams fan, like we won the Super Bowl, right? Like I'm talking about it like I won. I did nothing, right? I did nothing but watch the games. And it's just such a beautiful part of sports, is that the we aspect. And really for coaches and especially for parents, is like, I just love coaching you all. I love watching you play. And it's so powerful. It's like, having those conversations, it's not going to always, go well. There's going to be certain players that are going to respond differently. So there's no, kind of cookie cutter answer to this, but they must know, the foundation is they must know that you support them, right? And however that looks like for you in an authentic way as a coach, right? I'm going to coach differently than you probably, and that's okay. That's great. It's great for kids to get different coaching styles, because they're going to have different supervisors, that when they graduate. And so that's just so crucial. And the last but most important principle for this is you have to lead by example, and you have to be willing to fail in what you bring to them, right? You have to be willing to share stories and experiences of you failing and coming back. I think we can be such amazing sources of inspiration for our athletes. And, of course, it's great to share other stories. However, I think there's something that really helps you connect with your athletes when you share your humanity, and you share like, hey, you know what? And this is a really simple way, hey, you know what, guys? I tried this drill and it's just not working out. I thought I saw it on Instagram, I saw it on YouTube. I thought it would be great for us to learn how to, shoot and snap with our wrist better. However, it's just not working out. That's a light failure. One of the things I think when you're doing in-game coaching, that's a great time to, talk about, hey, I really, really should have played Jimmy in this situation, or, I should have called a timeout there. That's my fault. And I think I really believe that players win games, coaches lose games, when the talent is relatively even. Just because it's our responsibility as coaches to put players in positions of strength for them to go out and execute. And I just really, really believe that. And so we have to set and lead by example with everything that we do. And we have to, after a loss, right, we have to come motivated, ready, and inspire our team in whatever way is authentic, right? Some people are going to be more the Greg Popovich route, which are just like, we got to take care of business. We have to still, take care of our fundamentals in practice. Or you can be a little bit more of a fiery coach and, maybe a little bit more of a motivator, which is fine. Like, both coaches are great coaches. And whatever it is, staying true, staying authentic, and leading by example that, hey, it's all right that we lost, right? We're going to respond. This is how we're going to respond. You have to be the leader sometimes, and you have to empower then your team leaders to, again, go out and respond to failures, respond to losses, because that's the beauty of sports. You're going to get your butt kicked and knocked down when you are in real life. It's going to happen. You're never going to have a time where it's all smooth sailing. And that's what's just so important. It's such an amazing part of sports, is that we get to teach that in a safe environment where they're having fun for most of the time. So I appreciate everyone for listening to this episode. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Go leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Comment on the YouTube below which learning that you like the most. Let's review them back. We want to, number one, create an environment where failure is not accepted, is encouraged. Number two, create a growth mindset. Talk about a growth mindset. Number three, encourage self-reflection. Number four, we want to show unwavering support. And number five, we must lead by example. I appreciate you all for being committed to impacting and transforming leaders on and off the court. I will be in your ears and eyes next week as we drop another great episode for you all on Wednesdays. And hey, sometimes I know a little bit of a thing or two, but the Wednesday episodes, that's the real gold. So, Coach Furtado out. Let's shoot for greatness and impact our players, baby.